Right, welcome back to the Empower podcast. This is either episode 5 or 6. I think I've lost count already. It's not good, is it? We're going to talk all around reverse dieting, rebounding, the time just post competition if you are a competitive bodybuilder. Why it's important, how I've personally approached it, experience with that, experience with clients, and why it's good to get it right, but also in the same breath, sometimes it is probably the hardest part of the process as a competitor. So if you do find it difficult, don't feel that you are going it alone and that you are wrong for struggling a little bit. I think that comes with any part of being a competitor. There are going to be days that are hard. Hunger, fatigue, even in your off season when you feel a little bit full, frumpy, whatever you want to call it. You are allowed to have a day where you feel a little like it's hard, but also to take it in your stride, to think, right, I am the one that's choosing this path. I need to man up and get on with the day. But you can also have a moment where you do feel a little bit lower about the journey, and even communicate that with others so that you can get the support, because support is very important. So a reverse and a rebound, what is that? It's just a fancy terminology that we've got about just the few weeks after your competition, essentially when you do a comp prep. As a female, you'll probably have lost your period. As a male, you'll have got right to the back end of a comp prep. If you're a natty, your testosterone is probably right through the floor. As an assisted bodybuilder, you will have obviously had a lot of PEDs in play. Your body is not at homeostasis. Your sleep, your recovery, your hunger signals, your hormone function. As a female function is not at baseline, so it's not at level. A good reverse away from competition allows for you to taper things up steadily so that the food can come up slowly, the expenditure as you go. You can ease into training, you can get yourself set back to homeostasis, so back to a baseline with your body, so that you can make progress. People always say, the best progress that you'll ever make is in your reverse after a competition, and I'm not disregarding that. It's definitely not something that is wrong. However, progress happens in the off season. When you're reversing from a competition, it's about recovering the body. Only once you've recovered the body, got it back to baseline, back to homeostasis, that's when progress can happen. Because if your recovery is still rubbish, if your hormones are still in a very up and down, unstable position, you're not going to be able to make lots of progress. So it definitely sets you up for great progress, but I'm not saying that first initial few weeks is where you're making your most amount of muscle mass gain. You'll likely get a nice rebound if you do it well. You'll look full, you'll look great, etc. And people often confuse that with making progress, that they're building muscle. You have to get your body back into a place first where it's recovered, obviously making progress. That also comes into what point are you in your journey, how lean have you actually gotten, how much muscle do you actually have. If you're a female natural bikini competitor, you've not actually gotten truly lean. The progress that you can make off the back of it can probably start from day one, because you've not got to that point where things have really took a big massive sledge dive to your actual hormone function, etc. But again, you might also be a natty bikini girl that you have lost your hormone function in terms of your monthly cycle, you have gotten quite lean, etc. And it is going to take a little bit of time. So it just depends on what point you are in your journey, how much muscle you've got, and if you've actually got truly contest lean. Because if you haven't got truly contest lean, the need to recover from something that you've not got contest lean for is, it's not really needed. The only thing that likely will need recovering is your mindset, because regardless of whether you've gotten truly lean, going through a long diet, obviously hunger signals are going to be sky high. You are going to feel a little bit lower in regards to that side of things. So recovering and get yourself back into a great space is what you'll need to do, and the reverse can do that. If I talk about myself from an experience perspective, my first post-competition phase did not go very well. So if you're someone who's going through a post-comp phase, it's not gone incredibly well. A, don't let it make your love for bodybuilding disappear. And B, don't feel like it's not something that you can get right into the future. I'll always say that it'll be difficult, but you can get it right even if the first one's not gone too right. For me, my first post-competition, I hoarded loads of foods underneath my bed. I had lists and lists of different places, sweet treats, etc. that I wanted to have that I'd miss out on in my competition prep. And the amount of food that I ate in that first week after my competition was ridiculous. I remember seeing my friends at my competition, going for a coffee with them the next weekend, and one of my friends went, "What has happened to your face?" I was like, oh dear, that's not gone very well. So I think I was 8 to 10 kilograms up from my stage weight, and I wasn't like truly lean. I hadn't lost my period. My hunger signals were definitely very bad. And I just couldn't control my eating. And that was, my prep was very short, very extreme. So it just made that one even worse. Plus, I was getting coached by someone who was sending me like food videos, viral clips about different things, like white chocolate, pancake stacks, etc. When you're already someone who's going through the first comp prep and your hunger signalings are a little bit worse, getting all those little things sent to you definitely don't help at all. I hoarded foods, I should not have done that. Plus, my ability to say no after my competition prep, I put all of my hands up that is my fault that I let that happen. But again, there wasn't actually that much education around it. And because I wasn't truly contest lean, because I didn't really have a lot of muscle, the only thing that was really negative in that next off season was that my appetite really diminished really quickly because I'd overate that much that my belly just felt bloated and I just didn't feel hungry at all. So my ability to increase foods was limited. However, because I'd gotten a little bit chubby very quickly, again, it just limited the way in which I could actually build my food up. If you can't build your base food up, which is always going to be your biggest driver when it comes to muscle gain, everybody thinks it's the PDs. It is the hard training and the foods first. Those little things are obviously sprinklings on top. Yes, they are an extreme thing. I'm not saying that they're a good thing before anyone starts to say anything like that. But food and training are always going to be your two biggest tools. And because my training was great, but because of the reverse from show not going very well, it just limited how much progress I could make in my off season. And I realised that myself without things being as educational on the internet. So if there's one bit of advice that I could give to both my clients, and I try to help, that's why I like to help my clients come out from a competition, keep that regular communication, especially if it's their first competition, put education out to my clients about the fact that, it is a very hard process when you do come away from a show. Because when you go into a comp, yes, the hunger is there, but you're very hungry and you are fatigued. So I personally don't feel like the hunger is as bad as when you're not quite as fatigued. Like, your hungriest day, in my opinion, is your competition day and also the peak week, because you do less, so you've got less distraction because you've reduced down your steps, reduced down your training, reduced down your cardio. You've also got a little bit of extra food, so it's giving you that little bit of taste, and then you just want more. And then that's what happens after a competition. Plus, the goal, the focus, etc. of the competition is no longer there. So people often feel that little bit of, people say lost. And I understand that, the post-show blues phase, the big goal is gone. What is next, etc. If there's one bit of advice that I can give you in your reverse before you even start, not about food, not about your bodybuilding, etc. Try and put some little goals in place from the start to get your mind focused on something. For me, that'll either be from an educational perspective, could be from a career perspective, so courses that I could do online, goals that I have in work, to try and push my mind into that rather than it being solely focused on bodybuilding. Because you've had such a big focus for so long around how you look, getting leaner, getting lighter, seeing the visuals changing every single day, etc. You go into your off season, it's now about, oh, I'm going to see my body weight go up. Oh, I'm going to see my body change in terms of it getting a little bit bigger. Oh, I've got to eat this extra foods. And it's a hard process. Like, so many people, males and females, do find it hard to go from seeing the changes every day of improving the body, seeing the striations, seeing the muscles that's starting to pop out, transitioning over to, oh, I'm starting to get a little bit soft here. Oh, my glute line's gone. Oh, I've not got that delt striation anymore, etc. And it's like a vicious circle of, oh, I feel hungry, but that, oh, I'm seeing myself, and it's all a lot. So if you can get a focus on something that's not about the way that you look, that'd be great. I mean, you can still have bodybuilding goals, obviously. You want to think about, when do I potentially want to compete again? Let me set my timeline out in terms of, when am I going to be doing a reverse to? When do I need to do my next lot of blood work? When is my off season to? When is my next diet? When am I potentially going to start to do a competition prep? You can reverse engineer a plan. That's always a great idea. You can always look to put things in place in terms of bodybuilding goals of, what strength goals do I want to achieve in the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. It's a great little goal to actually have, especially if you feel a little bit demotivated with your training because you've spent a long time having a little bit less energy in prep. You're now going to have all that energy that you can pop it into it. But I do think having goals away from a bodybuilding environment as you go into reverse can really help you nail it, because it allows for you to have the focus away, so that you don't just hyper focus on those little things that probably are just a little bit more negative. If I am feeling a little bit softer, I am feeling a little bit fuller, I am feeling still very hungry even though I am getting a little bit softer. It's definitely a hard process to go through. But the one thing that I will say is that if you want to make serious progress with your body, regardless of what class you do, bikini competitor, a figure competitor, men's open bodybuilder, etc., progress happens in your off season. When it comes to building muscle, is that really going to happen in prep? It might happen for a 1% of people, but for most people, the biggest shift that you're going to see in terms of progress in your physique is going to happen in your off season. So if you can commit well to your reverse, get your body back to homeostasis well, and that is going to come from, slowly tapering things up so that your body can get back to that baseline, so that you can start making progress. And everyone's ability to get back to homeostasis is different. Some people's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, etc. Definitely make sure as a female, before you start thinking about things into your off season, like androgens, PDs, etc., regain your monthly cycle, have your hormone function in a great place, then add it in. If not, obviously you've got unstable hormones anyway, you then add androgens in that are risky anyway, and then you're putting your body more at risk, which long term, in terms of longevity, both within the sport and within your body, when it comes to the functionality of it, you're just putting it more at risk. So definitely try to be very careful about it. People get a little bit frustrated when they go in their reverse. They get frustrated that they are feeling hungry. Spent 20 odd weeks of dieting and feeling hungry, and now I feel just as hungry right now. Yep, that is a part of bodybuilding, and it's a part of bodybuilding that you have to be as committed to make sure that you can be successful within it, to make sure that you can make great progress. Because if you don't, and you want to go into an off season, you will be limited with how much food you can add into the agenda. With that, obviously, because the food is your biggest androgen window, then you're limited with the amount of progress that you can make. It also makes your next diet a little bit harder, because you can't go back to a diet, because most people mentally, hormonally can't do that if they've kind of knackered their first couple of weeks post a comp. So it then makes that next diet a little bit harder. You start a bit more out of shape compared to what you could have done, meaning that then you have to try and diet off the little bit of negative that has happened, which then makes the actual next diet a little bit harder, which then can create just a really vicious circle. So essentially, if you can, slowly taper away from your comp prep, get a nice amount of foods in place, keep a nice balance with an off-plan meal, but just don't overeat at it. Slowly taper off from your expenditure, get your bloods checked to make sure that everything's in a great space. In that kind of first 6 to 8 week period, the amount of progress that you can actually make in your off season is truly outstanding. I've done ones where they've not gone great. I've done ones that they have gone great. It's made, when they have gone great, my next prep much easier, the amount of progress that I've been able to make much easier. And people often, say, oh, Meg must have taken X more drugs on this one because she made more progress here. It was honestly my ability to commit to the plan that created for me to be able to make the biggest driver in terms of progress. Because when I first started my assistance journey, 35 milligrams is where I started per week, 70 milligrams is where it then pushed to, and it never actually went above that. So that wasn't ever any different. But my ability to commit to a reverse, and even my commitment to being a bodybuilder 24/7 just improved over the years. And with that, my progression got better, my physique got better, and just continued to make great progress, whether that be both on the stage in terms of my results and off the stage in terms of my actual physique development. So commit to it. It is going to be hard, and if you have a great coach, lean onto them, ask them questions, tell them how you're feeling, because they should be able to give you tips or even just, moral support in being able to achieve a great reverse, then transitioning into an absolutely fantastic off season. You cannot stay shredded and make and build a great physique. I'm not saying that you have to be out of shape to make a great physique, but I will say that you will likely, in off season, get to a point where you feel a little bit uncomfortable in order to make progress. That is definitely a topic for another day, as to what to expect in an off season, how to approach it, how it feels from both a male and female perspective, mental and physical perspective. But that is my thoughts, feelings around dieting, reverse dieting, rebounding, and also being able to make as much progress within your off season from setting it up with an absolutely fantastic reverse. And the one thing that I will say is, even if you see people that are at the top of the game on social media that look like they're on it, look like they don't have bad days, or don't have hard days, or don't struggle in that phase, or don't struggle with their hunger, etc. You have to remember that social media is people will only post their highlights, their good things, etc. Everybody has their difficult mental challenges when it comes to it. So stay open, stay honest, stay communicative. If bodybuilding means a lot to you and you want to do great within it, having people to support you is very important, but that starts with communication, honesty and communication, so that everyone around you can support you, especially your coach. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll be back again for another episode.